students. Today I am going to discuss another hormone of pancreas that is also very important hormone of pancreas, that is the glucagon. Now a glucagon is also a polypeptide hormone having 29 amino acids with a molecular weight of 3500. It is a potent hyperglycemic hormone because it also increases the blood glucose level in the blood. As in the last lecture I have discussed with you, it is produced by the alpha cells of the pancreas, which is around about 10 to 20% present in the endocrine mass of pancreas. Fasting normal plasma glucose concentration is 100 to 150 picogram per ml. Half-life of this hormone is 6 minutes, so it is metabolized very fastly also in the blood. Now, secretion rate of glucagon is estimated to be 100 to 150 microgram per day. Synthesis of glucagon is also, its gene is present on the alpha cells of pancreas in its DNA. So first is transcription, that is the mRNA is synthesized. Then from that the protein which is formed, that is pre-pro-glucagon, which is having 179 amino acids. On the ribosome of the endoplasmic reticulum, that is on the rough endoplasmic reticulum, this pre-pro-glucagon is converted into pro-glucagon. Then this pro-glucagon is go into the Golgi apparatus, and then active glucagon, which is having 29 amino acids, that is synthesized. Now as glucagon, it release of glucose to blood from the liver cells, or especially you can say it is the hepatocytes which produce glucose by the action of glucagon. Its major target site is the liver, where it promotes glycogenolysis, that is the breakdown of glycogen into glucose by the action of glucagon. So it means the enzyme which is required for the glycogenolysis, that is activated or stimulated by the effect of glucagon, and these enzymes are basically glycogen phosphorylase, and further glucose phosphate which is formed by this action, it is converted into the glucose by the glucose 6-phosphatase enzyme which is present only in the liver. Second action of glucagon is very important action, that is gluconeogenesis. This process is also activated by glucagon, that is the synthesis of the glucose by non-carbohydrate sources, that is either lactic acids or amino acids. So in the action of glucagon, it stimulates the glycogenolysis in the liver, and very important point to note down, this glycogenolysis action by glucagon is not occur in the muscles. Why? Because the muscles have not the enzyme which convert directly glycogen to glucose, that is glycogen phosphorylase enzyme and glucose phosphatase enzyme, that is absent in the muscle. No doubt, glucose stored in the form of glycogen in more amount in muscles than in liver or in hepatocytes, but breakdown of glycogen to glucose is only occur in the liver or in hepatocytes. But in the muscles, no doubt, glycogen converted into lactate, and that lactate further go into the blood, and then in hepatocytes this lactate is converted through gluconeogenesis into the glucose. So glucagon stimulates the production of glucose from amino acids as well as from lactate, and that process is known as gluconeogenesis, and this occurs only in liver. Third important action of glucagon is it stimulates the lipolysis, that is the breakdown of lipids into free fatty acids. And this breakdown of lipids into free fatty acids, further these free fatty acids go into blood, then go into the mitochondria of the cells or the where it undergoes beta oxidation and provide energy. Also incomplete form of these is the ketone bodies. So it means glucagon causes lipolysis as well as ketogenesis in the blood. Now, these actions of glucagon, that is glycogenolysis or gluconeogenesis, and on the adipose tissues lipolysis, this occurs because of the mechanism of action which is by the glucagon is that glucagon is definitely it is a polypeptide hormone. So it will act through the serpentine receptor. So mechanism of action of glucagon is it binds to the specific receptor on the plasma membrane of the target cell. So and these specific receptors are always the serpentine receptor because they cross the cell membrane 7 times, and it acts via then further stimulation of G proteins activate the adenylyl cyclase, which further increase the cyclic AMP. No doubt these things I have already discussed with you in full detail in general endocrinology. Second messenger which is produced by the glucagon, that is the cyclic AMP, and it activates the protein kinase A. Now, in this slide, as glucagon comes when bound with this G protein coupled receptor, these are the serpentine receptor. By bonding with the glucagon, these receptors activate the G proteins, which are the stimulatory G protein. That is, the exchange of GDP occurs with the GTP. Activation of stimulatory G proteins activate the adenylyl cyclase enzyme, which cross the cell membrane 12 times, and it is present inside the cell membrane. Activation of adenylyl cyclase then convert the ATP to cyclic AMP, and further cyclic AMP causes the activation of protein kinase A, and this kinase A further activate various phosphoproteins in the cell, or you can say various enzymes are activated, phosphorylated, so that so many physiological effects occur in the cell. Now, as this cascade of reaction which occur by the effect of glucagon in the cells, this if cyclic AMP is converted into 5-AMP in the presence of enzyme phosphodiesterase. So if cyclic AMP is more converted into inactive form, then this cascade of reactions are not much stimulated. So the various chemicals or the drugs which will activate PDE, that is phosphodiesterase enzyme, definitely they will produce inhibition in this cascade of reactions. And which chemicals inhibit this phosphodiesterase enzyme? So more cyclic AMP is produced, so this cascade of reactions are stimulated. So this is very clear from the next slide. The cascade activation of hormone sensitive lipase. As I have told to you just in previous slide, glucagon causes lipolysis, that is the breakdown of lipids, or you can say triglycerides in the adipose tissue. But this action is possible by the stimulation of hormone sensitive lipase. So it means glucagon play a role in activation of hormone sensitive lipase. As when glucagon bonds with this receptor, hormones, serpentine receptors, then it activates the G protein. With the activation of G protein, adenylyl cyclase is activated. So ATP is converted into cyclic AMP, and further protein kinase are activated, and hormone sensitive lipase enzyme, which is present initially in inactive form, that is phosphorylated, and active hormone sensitive lipase is produced. So all these cascade of reaction is only possible when these hormones bond with its respective receptors. And with the activation of hormone sensitive lipase, triglycerides are converted into free fatty acids in the adipose tissues. Now then this fuel which is used in the body, that is the lipids, but the hormones or chemicals or drugs which will stimulate this phosphodiesterase enzyme, that definitely inhibit these cascade reactions. So for example, I have told you in last lecture, as insulin activates the phosphodiesterase enzyme. So definitely insulin inhibit the hormone sensitive lipase enzyme, and this is the reason insulin never causes lipolysis. It will always causes lipogenesis by stimulating the enzyme lipoprotein lipase. And the drugs or chemicals for caffeine, and even I have told you so many times, the drug theophylline, it will always inhibit this phosphodiesterase enzyme. So better you should draw this line in a dotted form, that is, this is an inhibition line which will inhibit this enzyme, so that cyclic AMP is not converted in its inactive form. It will remain stimulated more and more, so that this cascade of reaction is more stimulated. It means caffeine and theophylline causes the more secretion of active form of hormone sensitive lipase, while insulin inhibit the active hormone sensitive lipase secretion by inhibiting the, you can say, insulin promoting the phosphodiesterase enzyme, while caffeine inactivate this enzyme, and so that the cyclic AMP is more produced by the inactivation of this enzyme, and then further lipolysis action is more promoted by the hormone sensitive. So it means along with glucagon, some chemicals and drugs which also helpful for promotion of this cascade reaction, and that is caffeine and theophylline, while insulin has opposite action. So factors affecting the glucagon secretion is, especially the stimuli for glucagon is decreased blood glucose level, increased serum amino acid level, so that more and more amino acids are used for the glucose production by the process of neoglucogenesis. Sympathetic system is stimulated, and I have told you on the alpha cells of pancreas more beta adrenergic receptors are present. So by the stimulation of sympathetic system, definitely glucagon secretions are increased. While as I told you on the beta cell of pancreas more alpha adrenergic receptors are present, and so sympathetic stimulation cause inhibition of the insulin secretion, while it will promote the glucagon secretion. Stress as well as exercise also promote the glucagon secretions. Now inhibitors of glucagon secretions are somatostatin, which is main inhibitory hormone, act through the inhibitory G proteins and causes the inhibition of glucagon secretion from the alpha cells of pancreas. Insulin also causes the inhibition of the glucagon secretions, and also the increased blood glucose level causes the inhibition of glucagon secretion. So glucagon action on the cell, whenever, so this slide basically shows how the substrate feedback mechanism affect the secretions from the alpha cells of the pancreas, especially when the blood glucose level is low. Alpha cells of pancreas stimulated to secrete more and more glucagon, and that act on the hepatocytes to produce or to convert glycogen to glucose through glycogenolysis, also produce gluconeogenesis, that is the formation of glucose from lactate as well as from amino acids. And this lactate and amino acid, it is always come from the muscle proteins and also from the adipocytes, or in the adipose tissue, fatty acids are come by the breakdown of lipids. And then these are used for gluconeogenesis. And with this, the plasma glucose level is increased in the blood. And then this will show, dotted line show the negative feedback effect on the alpha cells of pancreas. If this level is increased in the blood than the normal amount, definitely alpha cells of pancreatic secretions is decreased. Simultaneously, in this slide, it is also shown if the plasma glucose level is low in the blood, definitely this will produce negative feedback effect also on the beta cells of pancreas, so that the insulin secretions are going to be decreased, because insulin is a hormone, hypoglycemic hormone. Otherwise, it will cause more decrease of blood glucose level. So, this secretion is inhibited by the low blood glucose level in the blood, and ultimately the muscle proteins as well as the fat in the adipose tissues, that is going to be breakdown, and it is utilized for the production of glucose in the blood. Prolonged hypoglycemia definitely leads to more and more lipolysis. That is then, in that case, the fat is used as a fuel, and so more and more fatty acid production in the blood because of prolonged hypoglycemia lead to ketogenesis. That is, more and more ketone bodies are start forming in the blood. And we know the brain, that is main, which is used only blood glucose as a fuel for it, and the other peripheral tissue may use also triglycerides or fatty acids breakdown that used for as a energy source. Now, this slide shows insulin and glucagon regulate mechanism. Definitely in case of fed state, when the secretions of all the nutrients is increased, for example, after intake of meal, the insulin secretions are dominate. So, more and more insulin is secreted, which causes the utilization of glucose, uptake of glucose, as well as storage of glucose in the form of glycogen synthesis increase, storage of lipid as fat synthesis increase, that is lipogenesis occur in the adipose tissues, and also the more and more protein synthesis occurs in the muscles, so that this effect is the insulin, which is the hormone of abundance. And in other way, if there is a fasting condition, fasted state in the individual, definitely glucagon secretions are dominate. So more glucagon secretions from the alpha cell of pancreas causes more glycogenolysis, more gluconeogenesis, and more breakdown of fat, so that more and more ketogenesis occurs, and then there occur with the increase of glycogenolysis or gluconeogenesis, the blood glucose level in fasting condition is increased by the action of glucagon in the blood. So, in the regulation of blood glucose concentration, normal we know the blood glucose is 70 to 110 milligram per deciliter, but whenever this homeostasis is disturbed, the main two hormone which play role, that is the beta, from the beta cells insulin is secreted, and from the alpha cell glucagon is secreted to maintain the blood glucose level normal. As when the blood glucose level is rise in the blood, then definitely this homeostasis is disturbed, and then the beta cells are stimulated to secrete more and more insulin, so that the utilization of glucose is basically, uptake of glucose is increased, peripheral utilization of glucose is increased, so that glucose level again go back to their normal set level and homeostasis is maintained. But if the blood glucose levels are decline in the blood, definitely from the alpha cells of pancreas, glucagon secretion is increased, and with the increase of glucagon, glycogenolysis, gluconeogenesis, and even breakdown of fat, all these processes are going to be increased, so that the blood glucose level is increased in the blood, and definitely homeostasis is maintained. So this is the way by how the blood glucose is maintained in the body. So it means the insulin as well as the insulin and the glucagon both are antagonistic to each other. As insulin, by insulin action, the blood glucose level is definitely going to be decreased, but with the glucagon action, the blood glucose level is definitely going to be increased. So monitor of the plasma level of both these hormone monitoring is very much essential, and to monitor separately both these hormones, it is better to concentrate on a single term by which we should determine the level of both these hormones, that is the single term insulin glucagon molar ratio, because we know insulin is a hormone of energy storage, while glucagon is a hormone of energy use or energy release. So better to concentrate on a single term, that is the molar ratio of both these hormones, which is known as insulin glucagon molar ratio. As in a balanced diet, this ratio is normal, that is 2.3. But during starvation, definitely the concentration of these hormones is disturbed in the plasma, and then this ratio falls to 0.4 during these 3 days of starvation or fasting. But in the highly fed state, that is by infusing glucose in the body, definitely this Ig ratio is going to be increased and it will become 25. So this Ig ratio simply tell us what is the stage of metabolism in the body. If this high Ig ratio, that is it is 30, it will definitely produces anabolism because of more secretion of insulin in the blood. And if there is a stage of catabolism in the metabolism, then it means definitely there is a low Ig ratio, that is insulin secretions are decreased and as comparison to that glucagon secretions are increased. So low Ig ratio that is around about 0.5 produces catabolism, high Ig ratio that is 30 produces anabolism in the body. Now after the completion of these hormones, insulin as well as glucagon, next I want to discuss with you applied effect of these hormones, and first I want to discuss hypoglycemia in humans. As hypoglycemia means when the blood glucose level decrease in the plasma, and it is of two types. Either hypoglycemia occur in non-diabetic patients in which the blood sugar level initially is normal but still there occur hypoglycemia, and in hypoglycemia second type is in diabetic patient in which the blood sugar level is more but still the hypoglycemia occurs. So what are the causes behind these types of hypoglycemia? So one by one I want to discuss. First is hypoglycemia in non-diabetics. That is also known as postprandial. Postprandial means after the intake of meal. That hypoglycemia occurs, that is known as reactive hypoglycemia. It occurs after meal within 4 hours, and cause of this is basically the increased secretions of insulin from the beta cells of pancreas, and this postprandial or reactive hypoglycemia, it is short lasting. It occurs only because of transient rise in insulin levels in the blood. Second is the hypoglycemia in non-diabetic cause may be fasting hypoglycemia. This is not seen in normal fasting persons if the person take fast and then the hypoglycemia occurs in the blood. No.